Look at these beautiful broccoli sprouts, teeming with nutrients and also taste. They taste tender and delicious. Hello, everyone. Today I'm growing broccoli sprouts in this sprouter I got, and I'm really loving it. It's made out of stainless steel, and it's really much easier to use than glass mason jars, as you'll soon see. Anyone can easily grow a nice crop of sprouts in just a few days with no muss, no fuss. I'm going to be using these heirloom broccoli seeds. They're USDA certified organic, non GMO, and made in the USA. The sprouter comes with this plastic scraper to scrape the roots off from the mesh screen below, and I'll show you how that works later on in this video. This is the cover to the sprouter to keep the light out. You can see the material is a very nice, sturdy stainless steel, definitely food safe. And on top of the sprouter is a card with contact information and even a QR code that will lead you to instructional videos and a coupon for the seeds. This kit comes with stackable tiers, and you can see the tiers are also made out of stainless steel with a nice stainless steel mesh, so you can rinse your seeds easily and not worry about them falling through the holes. The mesh has very tiny holes, which means you can even sprout tiny seeds like amaranth in this. Here's another tier made exactly the same way as the first one, and see how they stack one on top of the other. So you can sprout broccoli in one tier and something else, say kale or radish or lentils, in another tier. Here I have mung beans in one tier and broccoli in the other tier. Okay, and then this is the drain tray. So the excess water drips into the tray after you rinse your sprouts. So let's get a crop of broccoli sprouts started. The first step is to measure out your seeds, and I'm measuring out 3 tablespoons here. That will fill up one tier very full. If you want less, use 2 tablespoons instead. You can see here how much I got from 3 tablespoons. It's really a lot. The next step is to cover the seeds with water and let them soak for 8 to 12 hours. I usually set this up in the evening to soak overnight, but this time I flipped it. I measured these out in the morning, and here we are 8 hours later towards early evening, and some of these seeds have already started to germinate. If you look closely, you'll see some of the seeds have broken open and have little tails sticking out. Okay, so now let's rinse the seeds, and this mesh is the perfect strainer for rinsing the seeds. My kitchen faucet has a pull-down sprayer, which makes it even easier to rinse the seeds. And as I'm rinsing them, I'm directing the water to distribute the seeds more evenly on the mesh. At this stage, it doesn't really matter, except you don't want the seeds clumped together. You want them to be able to breathe free. And onto the bottom draining tray that goes. And for now, I'm just doing one tier, but you could fill up the second tier and stack that right on top. And now on goes the cover. Here it is the next morning, and it doesn't look like the seeds did much germinating overnight. And that's because during this particular grow, we had temperatures outside of 4 degrees Fahrenheit, and the temperature in my kitchen overnight dipped to somewhere in the 50s. So these seeds weren't all that ready to wake up. Broccoli seeds can germinate in cold weather. Of course, they're considered a cold weather crop, but the sprouts themselves like temperatures of between 65 and 75 degrees Fahrenheit to grow faster. Yes, they'll grow in my cold kitchen, but more slowly. Usually my kitchen is warmer, but we had a heat malfunction. What can I say? Now we have a new thermostat, and my sprouts are much happier. So are the humans, much happier. So let's call this day 1, and every day I will rinse the seeds at least twice, once in the morning and once at night. But sometimes, if I'm around, I rinse them again in the middle of the day if I'm home. And after I rinse them, they go back onto the drip tray, and then the cover goes on. And this is in the evening of day 1. If we consider day 0, the day I started this, measuring out the seeds and soaking them, and you can see the seeds now have started to germinate. They're popping open and starting to put out little tails. Yay! And today the temperature went up from 4 degrees to 8 degrees Fahrenheit. So we're having a heat wave. Seriously, the heat in my house was not keeping up with the cold weather, and it did affect the grow time on these sprouts, but they still came out fine. It just took an extra day. So no worries. Okay, we're going to rinse, drain, cover, and repeat every day. Rinse, drain, cover, repeat. Okay, it's now day 2, and let's see what we have here. And that's more like it. Most of the seeds seem to have woken up, and they're doing their thing. Time to rinse these, and then stack it on top of the drain tray, and then cover it up. Now it's day 3, and what a difference a day makes. You can see the tails are getting longer, and the sprouts are starting to grow. You might be able to see some white fuzz in and around the baby sprouts. Those are just root hairs, nothing to worry about. Actually, let's take a look underneath to see if anything is happening. And yes, you can see the roots are poking out through the mesh underneath. So we really have made quite a bit of progress in just 3 days, in spite of my very cold kitchen. Okay, time to rinse, drain, and cover. Here we are on day 4, and the sprouts are definitely growing slower than usual, and that is due to the unusually cold weather we're having. My heat is just not keeping up with that. Yes, time for a new boiler, unfortunately. But the sprouts are fine, just growing slower than normal. And now again, rinse, drain, and cover. Remember to do this twice a day, morning and night. This is day 5, and you can see the sprouts are sprouting, growing bigger and bigger each day. They're yellow because they haven't yet been exposed to light, and I could do that now or let them grow a little more, and that's really the difference between sprouts and microgreens. At this stage, we can call these babies sprouts, but once they grow their first set of leaves and stand nice and tall, we call them microgreens. It's really a continuum. As the seeds germinate, sprout, microgreen, and then if you let it go even further, it becomes a mature plant. Here you can see one of the sprouts up close, and of course you can eat it at this stage, but it's better to let them grow a little more, maybe one more day, to fluff it out a little more. It's your decision. Underneath you can see the mass of roots growing. Everything is looking good. All right, time to rinse, drain, and cover up. Tomorrow I will probably uncover these, let them green up for a couple of hours, and then harvest them. So now it's day 6, and here you can see the sprouts are popping the cover off at one end. When I take the cover off, you can see that the covered sprouts are still yellow, but the ones that were peeking through turned green. The green color is the chlorophyll, which helps plants absorb energy from the light in a process called photosynthesis. The chlorophyll is considered to be a beneficial nutrient to consume. As a matter of fact, it's sold as a supplement for some very expensive prices, but you can make your own by growing sprouts or microgreens. And let's just have a quick peek at the roots, and then I'm going to leave these uncovered near a window to absorb even more light. Okay, it's about 10 hours later. These have been sitting near a window all day, and now we have lots of chlorophyll and sulforaphane and other good stuff going on here, and these are ready to harvest. You can see underneath the roots, and some people eat those. I like to cut those off. They tend to get a little slimy, and I find the sprouts stay fresher longer if I cut them off. The sprouts came with the scraper, but I don't find it works too well, so I like to use a sharp knife. I find that works so much better. Here you can see what happens when I use the scraper. It just pushes the roots down, but it doesn't cut most of them off. On the other hand, a sharp knife makes the job so much easier. There we go. Most of the roots are off, and you can see them all clumped together here in a slimy mess. And so now it's really easy to just pull the sprouts out and put them in a container for storage, which is fine if you don't mind all the hulls, or you can rinse the hulls off easily. So let's go ahead and do that. Just get a nice big bowl or container to hold the sprouts and cover it up with water. The hulls will float to the top, and you can tip them out or scoop them off the top very easily. And here you can see all the holes caught in my strainer. Another, maybe better way to get the hulls cleaned off the sprouts is to use a salad spinner if you have one. Here I dumped the sprouts in, rinsed them off, and more hulls came loose, and then I spun them dry. Yes, there are still hulls clinging to some of the sprouts, but very few, and they're fine, no harm eating them. Speaking of eating them, they taste great plain, but even better on a salad. Look how pretty, oops, look how pretty that looks. And yes, it tastes as good as it looks. Bon appetit, and thanks for watching. Bye.